Da 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 da! A new version of the VTOL bomber is out. I have improved a bunch of things, but I know you can't wait to see it working, so let's do that first. Now I will explain it deeper and deeper in detail. You can decide to stop watching whenever you feel like it's getting too advanced. And I guess now would be the time to thank you for watching. The world download and the schematic download can be found in the description. What have I improved since the previous version? First and foremost, this one holds 1500% more TNT. As it moves horizontally, it is 33% faster than it used to be, because this super fast engine exists, which I didn't know before. Since it is wider, it is not anymore compact. Nevertheless, it at least makes it look cooler. The launch system is smaller, cooler and adjustable, which I will explain in detail later. It's later! Before modifying anything, you'll need to pull this lever, unless you know what you're doing. It's very easy to accidentally launch pieces of the bomber. You can change the height at which it starts going sideways by adjusting this delay. Basically put in more items to make it higher and less to make it lower. You need to set the delay below the lever to the same value, otherwise it won't work. The minimum is 2 items and makes it go 16 blocks high. Each additional item adds about 5 blocks. Unfortunately, most heights do not work right away. Little adjustments might be needed in this delay here. The distance shall be modified by changing this delay. You need at least 2 items too, and the distance you get is about 50 blocks plus 5.2 times the amount of items. In other words, you subtract 50 from the desired distance and divide it by 5.2 to get the amount of items you need. The VTOL bomber uses different engines of slightly different speeds, so one of them can catch up with another. The height at which they meet depends on the delay between their launch. In this case we have another inactive flying machine on top, which starts moving when this piston is moved and this piston is updated. And of course the vertical engine needs to be stopped first. I put triggers for all of those things along this edge. This stops the engine, this pushes the piston in place, and this updates that piston, which updates that piston. This gets triggered in order by the faster engine as it catches up. To get some horizontal distance we need two horizontal engines of different speeds. The other engine is brought up using this, and the staging is a lot like with that other one. First the engine stops, then this piston gets pushed into place, and finally the rest of the engine gets solved together. We need to push this piston first, otherwise the engine won't update correctly. This is what it looks like when activated by the other engine. And when we have two horizontal engines at the same height, the faster one will eventually catch up with the slower one, as you've seen at the beginning of this video. This launchpad is a lot simpler than it looks like. Here's a flat version, should make it easier to understand. There are 3 hopper timers, each one triggers the next piece of the bomber and the next timer. The freeze lever overrides the outputs of all timers, so they cannot trigger anything at all. There is just this building left to mention. It is something I had built myself, and it was an interesting experience building something out of blast non-resistant materials that actually looks decent. That's about it, thank you for watching the entire video, and do not forget, everything you need is in the description.